Shut your phone off.
Wow, what a powerful opening that was. That's the state of America today, and that's the name of our show, The State of America. Thank you for joining us again tonight. Sorry about that. We had technical difficulties, but we're going to make it bigger and better the second time around. I'm Charles Pauline, the Director of Organizational Development for my New York State and Erie County.
And I'm Brett Byro, the Director of Organizational Development for Niagara County, New York.
And yeah, those are nothing more than fancy words and fancy titles for the guys who are organizing the Watchmen in our area. We're putting all together for our people in our counties and our towns, and Brett's here to help.
Without a doubt. I think that we have tons of like-minded people, Charlie, that want to help protect the innocent.
Right. Some of those scenes in that video, I mean, even though the streets are quiet at the moment, that can be any town USA. All it takes is one bad police action, one bad police shooting, even a justified police shooting. They're doing this stuff even when the cops are doing nothing wrong. But that can be your town, and that's why we need a group like the Watchmen. What do you think of that, Brett?
I concur, brother. I want to just really quick to say, Charlie, welcome to the Watchmen that are watching. Welcome to the Watchmen that are going to join. And welcome to those that are going to wish they were Watchmen.
Exactly. Hey, this podcast, we want to make it educational. We want to make it informative. We want to make it fun at times. We want to refute some of the things that are being said about us. We want people to know the truth about the Watchmen, what we are and what we aren't, and that's only going to come with awareness and education, and that's one of the purposes of this podcast.
I concur, brother. It's easy to throw us under the rug when we're trying to do good.
Yeah, we're already getting called a racist group. We're already getting called white supremacists. We're already being called fascists. It's just ridiculous.
And we've done nothing but keep peace at a few protests.
People that just want to make us look bad, that's all. But, what are the Watchmen? That's the first thing you're going to want to know. That's the first thing people ask us when we're out on the streets. There's a picture. We're out on patrol. We're keeping the streets safe. We're protecting businesses. We're protecting innocent people, right?
Yeah, without a doubt. Look. Pretty impressive, huh?
It sure is. We need to organize as many people in as many areas as we can, and we're going to let you know how to do that tonight. We need to let you know what the Watchmen are first, and it's really a grassroots movement that started in North Carolina. It was created by a man named David Horton, and some very educated people that have put this together, and we started our chapter up here in New York, and we're carrying through what they've created. And there's really no better way to tell you what the Watchmen are all about, other than have Dave Horton tell you. But I'm going to show you. There's a video of us marching in East Aurora, a friendly deployment, just spending time with fellow patriots.
Some big dudes in there.
Yeah, I mean. Dudes and women.
Yes.
A lot of women in this group. But we're a community action group. We're out there on the streets to keep the streets safe, like I said, to protect innocent people. Our mission statement is to protect the innocent and to preserve objective principles, which means fair principles, fair laws, fair treatment for all people, not just one side. And we're going to let Dave Horton, who's the founder of this group, kick it off by explaining what the Watchmen are all about.
I'm going to give a brief introduction on what the Watchmen are and what this movement's all about. Basically, I'm going to start, though, with where it originated. And it originated basically by me doing kind of what I'm doing right now in this very spot of making a video and asking for support. So in June, you guys all remember, this is when riots and looting started breaking out in different areas. But not just that, there was lots of videos going around of innocent people getting beat down, getting knocked unconscious. And then the next part of that was people speaking about statistics and facts that their jobs were losing their jobs for it and getting ridiculed nonstop for it. So during that time period, I mean, if I back up just a minute, even back to when I was in college, it was difficult to even speak openly in college. I did it, but there was a lot of ridicule for it, for speaking out against certain ideas and policies and things like that. So moving back forward, and this was years ago, it intensified like crazy, because I mean, this went from not being able to speak in school without being ridiculed to now people losing jobs for it. But this is not just on ideas. People getting fired for speaking about statistics and facts and labeled for that. The labeling has been horrible. So back in June, I get on a video like this, and I basically am asking people in my direct area, hoping to get 10. That was actually a goal. I was thinking, man, if I could just get 10 people that I know, would watch out for me, and I could watch out for them as well, but we could know we had each other. We could know that the one thing we were going to do was watch out for each other's safety. And then the other part at the same time was, how can we engage this society, with the points where people are getting ridiculed and labeled just for, seeking to understand what's happening and looking at it from a different perspective. So within a 5-month period after I put that out, there was over 10,000 people on my Facebook page. This was before Facebook started doing a lot of heavy monitoring, because all of a sudden we went from getting hundreds per day requests to join the Facebook page to it plateaued. And this was when Facebook also started pushing down posts and things like that. And they can manipulate what people see and what people hear and that sort of thing. So we haven't had a platform. So I'm thankful that there's a platform right now with this podcast. I think that's a platform that gives people of principle somewhere that we can communicate and get a message out to other people. And what I mean by people of principle is people with moral principles, principles that are grounded in being fair, principles that are grounded in being balanced. So to me, having this opportunity is extremely valuable because of what I've gained through being part of this group. What I've gained from it is a sense of security. I've gained a sense of that, hey, what I have to say also matters. A sense of somebody wants to hear what I got to say, and I want to hear what they got to say about fairness in society. Not just based on assumptions that people tend to consider facts, or passion. Lots of times people get wrapped up in passion and mistake passion for a genuine truth. Passion doesn't make something a genuine truth. So I've tried to surround myself with people who's willing to speak from a principled perspective rather than assumption or just passion. And that's a comfort, because like I said, even in school, those kind of things are ridiculed right now. And now at jobs, people are getting fired for that sort of thing. So having this available means a lot. And part of the focus then of this group now and currently is that we have the safety factor, which is eased off a little bit, from the past couple of months. And then people tend to try to get comfortable and say, okay, well, things are calming down so we can, back off. What I want to keep in focus is this, that for years the left has been creating policies and procedures within school systems that are unfair and they're unjust to people, that they marginalize entire groups of people. They actually make certain groups of people not of value to their society, to where they can't interject their thoughts or their ideas without being ridiculed for it, which is completely unfair, but that's been going on for years. And it's culminated recently. The left has used what's happened with the violence and even this pandemic to drive home that desire for total control. So the part we can't sit and just watch is the fact that that's what's going on. All you have to do is listen to what's going on in a classroom, look at what's going on in some of the policies, and you'll see where they're unfair. They're under a guise of safety and justice, but if you look at the consequences, that's not what the outcome is. I mean, that's not what's going to happen from what they're doing. So extremely important for us as people of principle who care about such things as safety, who care about such things as valuing all people, not giving exceptions for groups, not giving special privileges for groups, but making sure everybody has that equal plane. If we don't pay attention and interject ourselves into what's happening, I revert back to this as well because it's just true. People of principle tend to stick to themselves. We have the notion of, you know, I'll leave you alone if you leave me alone. I'll go do my thing, you go do your thing. But during this time, what the left has done is not go. Their thing has been, let me figure out how to have complete control and oppress this other group, you know. So although people of principle has taken the stance of, you know, I'll leave you alone, you leave me alone, live and let live, that other group over there has taken this time and devised ways to exclude entire groups from society and penalize entire groups for speaking about things that are statistically true, that are factually true. And it's mind-boggling that we as a group of people have just let that happen. I know it's based on the principle of live and let live, but that other group is not just simply sitting there living. They're actually devising ways to have complete control. So the Watchmen then, we have the first part, as it was born as, out of a concern for safety. We have to be able to physically watch out for each other, especially when innocent people start getting harmed. And say this, we're not going to be manipulated through violence. That's not going to happen. The second part is that we're going to start holding people accountable for how they're treating all people in schools and in the community, because everybody's voice matters. There's a value to everybody, regardless of what their people group has done in the past or not done in the past, or not done on the other side of the globe, or have done on the other side of the globe. In order to have a just society, that value has to be given to all people and not ridiculed or slandered when it's somewhat different, as long as it's within those bounds of being morally upright, ethically just. We're going to seek to follow through with those things. That's the point of this group. So we have several divisions, and we're still organizing, we're still creating. I mean, it's only started in June, like I said earlier. But we have made strides in getting things moving in a way that's going to be beneficial for all of us. And I'll say this in closing, trying to keep this under the 10-minute mark. You guys who do want to be part of something like that have to reach out to people, at least on our website, even in your community, and start talking to each other about those sorts of things that are a problem, and even reaching out to the community leaders in your area and see how you can engage in ways that's going to help yourself and help your neighbor without giving special treatment to one group or the other. That's the main thing. Let's keep the identity pure, keep it true, and keep it on track. This group, this movement is needed 100%, and it's going to be needed for a long time, because the left has came too far, and they've made strides in trying to get their total control to the point they're not just going to let up. They're not going to turn it back. So it is our responsibility at this point to help build in a way that's going to be fair for all people and keep all people safe to the best that can happen, without it undermining or ridiculing another group. that's simply trying to do something that's just, not under the guise of just or safety, but actually trying to provide justice and liberty for all people. Guys, take care, and I look forward to being able to chat with you again another time. See you.
Awesome words there, David. Thank you very much. Our founder, David Horton from North Carolina. I agree with every word he has to say.
Charlie, how can you not agree with that? How can anybody not agree with it?
His words from the first time I listened to him were the reason why I got involved with the Watchmen. He's the reason why I'm sitting here now. He's the reason why you're sitting here now. The Watchmen wouldn't be in New York if it wasn't for his wisdom and his words. And I'd like to discuss some of the things that he's talking about. I mean, he's touching on some subjects that have been inside of me from way back years ago that I had before I even knew David Horton existed, like the school situation. I mean, how is the conservative movement ever going to win when the school system is pushing the leftist agenda and they're creating indoctrination camps?
From a young age, Charlie, I mean, you look at all these teachers, guys. This isn't something that we are just making up. If you look at the teachers that are being arrested, that are out there on Facebook, that are making videos and teaching their kids in the classroom exactly why they should be leftist instead of open-minded, what happened to all that?
We need to fight for some laws that say there shouldn't be any politics in the school system. And I mean, they're pushing Black Lives Matter, they're pushing the leftist agenda, they're pushing their way of thinking on these kids instead of letting them develop and decide for themselves. And at the end of this show, we are going to have a segment that's educational. And if I had a kid, I'd have him sit down and watch this, how to be patriotic, what some of these things mean. We're going to have things at the end of our show that teach about the Constitution, the things that they're not hearing from these leftist teachers. And we know that because we've got files on so many teachers that. Did you hear something?
I didn't hear nothing, did you?
Didn't hear anything? I thought I heard something. Anyway, we've got files on teachers in our area who are just recruiting kids for Antifa and Black Lives Matter, and it's ridiculous. But the school thing is something in my heart that I've been thinking about a long time, that we can't win this war until we stop the indoctrination of our kids in high school all the way up through the university system.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. This is something that has to be worked on, and we need more like-minded people, Charlie. Exactly why we're here and telling you this information, just to enlighten you a little bit, and maybe you'll enlighten others.
Well, those are the kinds of causes that we as Watchmen and just the regular general population who thinks like we do, like-minded individuals that want to fight for those kinds of things, we have to all get organized and get involved in that. Another thing that Dave discussed was objective principles and fairness. And I mean, you can't have one segment of society allowed to do whatever they want to do and then have the crackdown on the other side when this side wants to do the exact same things that the other side was going to do. And I can give you examples of that because we've lived it just over the past few weeks. I mean, all spring and all summer long, BLM and Antifa were allowed to protest. They were allowed to march the streets. They were allowed to gather in as big a groups as they wanted to, and nobody did a thing.
Loot, burn, and riot.
Loot, burn, and riot on top of all of that. Yeah. And what we were told was they were allowed to exercise their First Amendment rights because their right to gather superseded any threat there was from COVID. So now that the conservatives and the patriots who are upset over things that are happening in our society, they're trying to do the same thing. They're having their protests and their gatherings, and they're getting the crackdown. And the Watchmen realize how unfair that is, and we're going to try to stand in between and protect these people's right to do the same thing that those people already have done. So that's another purpose of our group.
I think that you are hitting on exactly some things that are going on in Erie County, and I think that if you're not paying attention, people, you need to pay attention to what's going on in your surroundings. Otherwise, how is anybody that is conservative and thinks like us ever going to have a chance at anything in these democratic towns? I hate to put it that way, but it's the truth.
Yep. Well, what's going on in New York right now? I know the Watchmen's a national organization. We're all over the country. It started in North Carolina. There's many groups down there, South Carolina, Tennessee, It's spreading all over. But up here in New York, our issues are still this COVID thing. These lockdowns, we've got a tyrannical governor who's just putting people out of business, starving families. He's doing things that are just over the top, and people are getting tired of it. They're revolting. They're tired of what's happening, and they're standing up for their rights. And it trickles down from the governor to the county executive that we have.
Without a doubt. Don't get me started on the county executive. I think you have something that you're going to talk about a little bit.
Well, like I said, people are revolting, people are standing up, people are protesting. They are actually going to Mark Poloncarz' house and protesting. We as Watchmen chose not to. We don't believe in going to people's houses. That brings their family into the fight, and we don't want to do that. But we wanted to make sure that protest was peaceful and that nobody innocent was harmed, so we went and we staged in the area. We're there to protect the innocent. It doesn't matter who they are. I mean, even if these right-wing protesters would have started damaging Mark Poloncarz' house, we would have stepped in and stopped it from happening and protected him just like anybody else.
That kind of backfired on us a little, huh?
What's that?
That kind of backfired a little on us, huh?
Well, I even put that out there publicly that's why we were there and that's what we would do. And a day later, he requested a presidential-type security detail, 24 hours a day, with taxpayer money to protect him from these protesters, and he named the Watchmen specifically as an armed militia who was out to get him, and he feared for his life. So, I mean, nothing could be more further from the truth. All I got to say is, Mark, does this look like a picture of someone who would like to try to kill you?
Smiling and hugging. You know,
Exactly. And I've stood with him like that many times at many different functions. Got no animosity against Mark Poloncarz. We're just here to do the right thing. He's just one of the people who doesn't want to get educated on what's going on around him and use other people as excuses. But the people in our county wanted to have their own protest. The Republicans, the Patriots, they stood up and they had a community outreach Patriot dinner, and hopefully we can see some pictures and video from that. There's the community outreach Patriot dinner. We had several hundred people there doing the same thing that Black Lives Matter and Antifa does, but only in a peaceful manner. And no rioting, no looting, no hurting each other, no nasty chants. It was just patriots being patriots and standing up for their rights. And the Watchmen were there to protect their right to express their First Amendment like anybody else. And I'd like to show you another politician. Run that video of David DiPietro and what he had to say about the Watchmen.
Here comes Dave. I see him making his way over. So let's give Dave DiPietro a round of applause. I had to wait for him to take a bite of something yummy. We're at church.
Wow. Did you guys try that food? Is it like amazing, the food? Hey, God is good, right? Is God good? Well, I just want to say thanks for showing up. We need this. You all know that I call it out, Albany's corrupt, but I never thought I'd see the evil and the tyranny just on display with no holds barred like we're watching it now. We're watching an all-out assault on our rights. And if we don't stand up now, they're going to be all gone, especially when we go back in January in this state. Everything has gone so far to the left. I don't know if you knew it or not, but 7 new Democrats got elected just in the assembly where I'm at, who are all registered with the Socialist Democratic Party of the United States. Those are communist people, and that will be taking over. So I want you to stay vigilant. We need to stand up strong. This event is just an amazing thing. I want to thank, how about a round of applause for everyone who organized this and put this together. The New York Watchmen for being here. What a great group of individuals. Stand up. now is the time. I always say, if not now, when? And if not you, who?
Hell yeah.
Who's going to do it?
Hell
Who's going to stand up? Look at all the little kids around here. Who's going to stand up for them? We are. It's time to take back our state. Time to fight all this. And I think, as I mentioned today, I think it started with the first spark in this country started right here with Robbie De Niro. How about that? Where's Robbie?
Shot heard around the world.
That's right. And we're going to keep the fight. I'll do whatever I can. If you need anything from me, let me know. I'm going to stand tall. I'm going to stand with all of you. I always stand on the Constitution. End of story. God and the Constitution, and that's it.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
Thanks a lot. Stand tall, everybody.
Hey.
What?
Here's something.
What the?
Cuomo, get the hell out of here, Cuomo.
There's
We
not
don't have
more than 10 people in here.
Get
Asshole.
out of here. Go look at somebody else's window, damn it.
How the hell did he get up here?
He's looking in everybody's window. So anyway, we've got Mark Poloncarz, Erie County executive, who doesn't bother to learn what the Watchmen are all about, doesn't care what we're all about. He just wants to say, I need protection. They're an armed militia. They're going to kill me. I'm in fear for my life. Now you've got State Assemblyman David DiPietro, who bothers to talk to us, come to our events, meet us, march with us, shake our hands, actually get to know who and what we are, and you saw what he has to say about us. Thank you, Watchmen. What a great bunch of individuals. It's just ignorance versus knowledge. That's all it takes, a little bit of knowledge, and that's what we're hoping we're going to give some people here tonight.
You know Poloncarz has his own agenda. You know that. I mean, I think everybody knows that, right?
It's whatever fits their narrative,
Yep.
whatever fits their narrative. So, these are the things we're concerned with. These are the things we fight for. You want to be part of that? You want to be part of the Watchmen? We can tell you how to do that. It's very simple. Go to the website, watchmenguard.org. It's a national website. Every group, from the New York groups to the Tennessee groups to the Carolina groups to wherever the Watchmen are organized, have their own group there. Just go there and search for people in your area. And if you don't find any, then start your own group. Get a hold of Dave Horton. You can contact him on that website. If you're in the New York area, you want to get involved with the Watchmen, on Facebook, we're New York Watchmen. It's a group on Facebook. Just search New York Watchmen. Join that group. We'll get you involved that way. If you have any questions about how to get started here, there, or anywhere, email me at newyorkwatchman@yahoo.com. I'll say it again, New York, NY. Don't spell out the words. It's just nywatchman@yahoo.com. And I will help anybody start a group anywhere in the country, because I think what we've done up here in New York has been very successful. And we have a roadmap that we've cultivated out of what Dave Horton has started. And we will do everything we can to get everybody going and as successful as we've been.
Just so you know, there's maybe some people out there that are doubting if we're real and what's going on. Go on the page, read the information, see what's going on. Watch New York, watch for level 1 meetings. Talk to Charlie, talk to me, talk to other members that are here. You know, we have a group here watching us because everybody is so dedicated now. You know that everybody wants to be involved. It's time to step up, guys. We cannot sit on our hands anymore.
Okay, well, that's how you can get involved. Go to watchmenguard.org. Go to New York Watchmen on Facebook. Email me at nywatchman@yahoo.com. We'll get you started. We'll get you organized. We need to get everybody organized. We have big issues going on in this country. We've got the leftists that are trying to take over our country and suppress half of us. I say it's more than half of us.
Without a doubt.
But that's where we are. That's where we're going with this. We plan on making this phenomenal. We plan on being very successful. We want to start a juggernaut of a group. When the Watchmen speak, people are going to listen, and that's our goal.
Of course. Listen, Charlie, you hit on this a little bit. It's not just a Watchmen thing. We are going to be community organizations where we're going to help others watch us work.
Exactly. We're organizing in neighborhoods to keep each other safe. We're organizing in towns to keep larger groups safe, larger areas safe. We have many different divisions and different goals. It's not just all going out on the street and hunting down troublemakers or standing in the way of troublemakers. We don't hunt anybody down. We're very non-aggressive. We're a peacekeeping force. We just stand in the way and be a deterrent, and that's it. But we have things like a civic division, civic engagement, where people can take up issues. It takes large numbers of people to get politicians' attention, and that's why we have to organize. That's why we have to have a loud voice as one, and we're gonna accomplish that.
I agree. I like what you said earlier. That from 18 to 80, we have a position in the Watchmen for everyone. Nobody's going to be turned away. You hit on that.
Let me tell you, we've got. I was at a new member meeting a couple weeks ago, and I looked over, and there was a table of little old ladies. I mean, they looked like they were ready to get out their bingo daubers. And they were there. They were like, we want to do something. We want to help. And I swear to God, one or two of those ladies have even asked, can I come out when we've had deployments out on the streets? And I'm like, that's good. Maybe not your thing. We'll find a better place for you. But they were ready, willing, and able to come out on the streets with us. These are 72-year-old grandmothers. We had a man in a wheelchair show up. We had no idea that he was disabled. We had no idea that he was going to be there that day. He showed up in a wheelchair and said, I'm ready to go. Is that amazing or what?
Dedication and wanting change,
Just
brother.
everybody wants to get involved in this. They're tired of getting kicked around, and we've got a place for everybody, and the Watchmen have a place for everybody in this organization. So we showed you how you can get involved, and we hope you'll take that step. Right?
Without a doubt. I just want to reiterate that we are going to protect the innocent and take care of our family. You guys, in order to be part of that, join our family.
Right. Awesome. Let's have a little fun now.
Hell yeah. Already.
We had Cuomo sneak up behind us. That was hopefully got a little giggle out of somebody. But we'd like to educate the community too. I mean, you see that there's people out there. They're rioting, they're protesting, they call it whatever they want. They're hurting people, they're breaking windows, they're slashing tires, they're hitting cars with hockey sticks, they're punching people in the face. And, you just see these blurry images on TV, but we're going to put a face in front of you and let you know what this is all about and who's out there doing these things. And we're going to focus on one person in a kind of funny and I don't know, what would you call it?
I'm going to call this, our version, since they like to dox everybody.
Dox that terrorist.
Yeah, here we go.
So you wanna be Antifa? We're taking down the West. Unless your mom finds your bandana, she'll never guess. Even though you're anti-fascist, can you act like a fascist if you need to? Ooh, that's bad. Never talk to the camera, there is nobody that you should ever speak to. And we're the anti-fat kid, cause you're gonna get hit. So you wanna be Antifa, you wanna change the world. Be like Yvette Flocka, what an amazing girl. Keep covering your face when you cover them in mace, let me tell ya. When the right try to talk, you can use a bike lock to defend you. And wear a black outfit, so they know who to hit. Come on down to Berkeley, get Donald Trump impeached. You can punch a Nazi if he's using free speech. You'll never catch us, we're anonymous. Find a random signpost, kick it all around. Find a random trash can, burn it to the ground. What point do you prove when garbage is moved? We don't know. So you wanna be a commie with full government, and you'd also like anarchy with no government. It's pretty much the same, no, it's definitely not a contradiction. Don't be questioning our logic, and I'm sure you'll make a great new addition. Cause you might as well quit if you question it. This is revolution, this isn't just a game. So wear your little outfit and use a fake name. Trust us, we're the left. We deserve respect. We hate all the racists, fascists on the right, even though our members all happen to be white. That isn't the point. The point is that we are heroes.
sitting here without
I was
fucking
on
masks
national
but
news
we're
for
black.
slashing the bitches' tires. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that.
All right.
Demonstrators gathered, and someone jumped in her car. She stopped because someone chased her down in her car. So
Dox the terrorists.
It wasn't really a dox, but it was more of a making fun of. You can see the crimes that he or she or whatever it is committed in that video. So, Rosie, you're like one phone call away from a mugshot and fingerprints. And when we see you on the streets, that phone call will be made. And by the way, our streets.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
Our streets.
Thank you very much. Now, moving on. We advertised this show to be, what was the word I used? Oh, man. What's that word? We want to chronicle, that's the word. We're going to chronicle our trip to Washington, D.C. for the Million MAGA March. What was that, 2-3 weeks ago? 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We all decided we were going to go to Washington, D.C., and we were going to support our President Trump. And we really didn't know what to expect. I had never been to anything like that before. Have you?
About 300 people showed up.
Yeah, that's what one of the media reports down there. Wow, 300 people. There was probably 1 million people there.
DC police confirmed 1.1 million.
Yep, and it was a great time. I mean,
guess what happened?
What happened?
Nothing got looted.
Yeah.
Nothing got burned.
Well, until BLM and Antifa came out, and then all the trouble started.
When did they come out, Charlie?
After the 1 million people broke up, and there was husband and wife, and maybe a couple scragglers with Trump hats on,
Yeah.
and
And a couple elderly people sneaking up and punching elderly people in the face.
When the Easy Prey came out, that's when they came out.
When we were down there, you guys are going to see here in a real little bit on, we walked right down to BLM Plaza. As a matter of fact, we stayed a block away.
Well, first of all, let's start at the beginning. Let's do this chronologically.
Okay.
When I was in 8th grade, I took a field trip to Washington, D.C., and it was a magical place. It was beautiful. It had all these monuments and museums, and we learned a lot, and it left an impression on me like, wow, what a great place. Well, when we got there, this time around, I expected to see the same thing, but instead, we found a city in shambles. I mean, it was boarded up. Every business, that's our hotel right there, boarded up. We had to walk through a plywood door just to get in the Hyatt. And every building on every street, I mean, there was a CVS across the street from us. It wasn't even open. It was locked down, boarded up.
Charlie, did you see a building that wasn't boarded up?
No.
That wasn't from preparation for us, you know that, right? Or make sure the people know that. That was not.
It was shortly after the election, so they were expecting some sort of trouble. Were they expecting all the Trump supporters to tear up the town?
That wasn't what they were expecting. They were expecting the other. Come on, guys. The proof is in the pudding. All you got to do is watch. They want to portray us as the bad guys, but you all know. Everybody knows.
Yep. So we got there on Friday afternoon, Friday evening. Like I said, we were kind of amazed at how ugly and dirty and boarded up everything was. We checked into our hotel, which was 1 block from Black Lives Matter Plaza. Now, at least the people in Oregon had the gumption or the balls to create their own space. They took it by force and they created the autonomous zone or whatever it is. Washington, D.C. said, you don't have to spend that energy. We'll give you. Here you go. Black Lives Matter Plaza.
Right in front of the White House.
Right in front of the White House. Exactly.
You can't see the fucking White House. Well, excuse my language. You can tell I'm getting a little bit worked out. You can't see the White House. You can't see the White House.
It's a pedestrian mall. Goes straight down. If you look, you can see the White House in the background. But you can't see through the fence because they have the fence completely covered in signs and
vile stuff about
anti-Trump this and anti-Trump that and F this and F that, and everything down both sides of the street was nothing but Black Lives Matter signs on whatever buildings they had there. And I don't know if people put that stuff up voluntarily or they put it up so that they don't get their things destroyed. But
I just want to add, everybody understands that there is a difference between sympathizers with the BLM, true people, But the BLM movement, Charlie, is totally different, and they are definitely funded by the leftists and sending in people with Antifa, with everybody. I think everybody kind of understands that, right? You agree?
Right. Peter, of this? Hold on. Stop that. Let's do this chronologically. That was Saturday night. We're still on Friday night. And we got to go through the march on Saturday morning before we ever get to any of that. And we're going to give you a little disclaimer that we're trying to keep the language a little bit clean on this show, but the sounds on the street that night were the sounds on the street that night. And the name of the show is The State of America Today, and we're trying to show the state of Washington, D.C. that night. So the chant that you will hear is mostly F Antifa, F Antifa. I'm sorry if that offends you, but those were just the sounds of the street that night. And those were the people that were standing up against the ones that were hurting us.
I think that once we get to that video and other videos that we're going to show about DC, people will kind of see, what's going on. You guys can imagine, all the videos that you've seen, which may not be that bad in your cities now. But after we dispersed,
That's chronologically.
Okay, all right.
Chronologically.
All right. I'm kind of getting a little heated.
You got there, Peter.
So our mics were on, so people heard us talking. So yes, we were kind of giving Peter a little bit of an edge. Get ready. We want everything to run smooth. You guys know that.
Oh boy, we'll get better at this, guys. We'll
Yes,
get better at this. But Friday night we went out for a nice dinner. We had all kinds of meat.
Oh my
It
God,
was a
16 different meats, dude. I'm telling you, it was so phenomenal. You were sick as hell, dude. I don't know how you pulled that off.
Yeah, I was fine. I'm fine.
All right.
But we went out to dinner on Friday night, and on the way back to our hotel, because the rally was on Saturday, the march was on Saturday, so we were going to get a good night's sleep and get headed out the next morning. But on the way back to our hotel, we decided, let's take a walk past the White House and see what's going on over there, because we could see a crowd down there. So we walked down there, and it was like the hangout for BLM and Antifa. I mean, this is the area where you've seen all the riots happening. This is the area where that church got set on fire, the area where the president came walking out to take his famous publicity stunt photo. But they moved the fence back out a little farther to keep more of that safe. But all the BLM and all the Antifa, they were all gathered along in that area because it's right at the end of Black Lives Matter Plaza. So we didn't have any of our Watchmen gear on, no Watchmen shirts. We just had, call it civilian clothing on. Let's go walk down there. Let's go mingle amongst these people. So that's exactly what we did. We went down there and we joined the crowd as if we were part of them, even though we weren't. And we hoped that we didn't get recognized, and we didn't.
We got a little bit of dirty looks only because we weren't wearing masks and
Yeah, you're right. But what stood out to you when we were down there?
You know what stood out to me the most, Charlie, is number one, that it was one dude, that had came there.
That's what I was hoping you were going to say.
One guy. He didn't know that we were there. He had no clue. So as soon as he started talking, you guys will see. You're going to see the video. You're going to see the cops running over. Let's get on that. When Peter, it was it is tagged as MAGA Friday night.
Well, what it was, I mean, there had to be 500 BLM and Antifa people down there.
Easy.
And there was one guy, one Trump supporter, and he was standing in the middle of all of them, and he was telling them how it should be and how he believes and what he thinks about them. And he was giving them hell, and they had him surrounded, and they were pushing him around. And the cops would run over every now and then because they thought it was breaking out into a fight. But this one guy was standing his ground in the middle of 500 of these people, and we had to go over there just to applaud him and say, wow.
Peter, it was marked MAGA Friday night. You wrote that in there. I remember, when I was sitting at you while we were priming it. You guys, so, just bear with us. It's going to get better. We are not, how can I say it? We bombed Peter with so much pictures, info, and everything, and then we just wanted everything. We wanted to show everything. We just can't show everything. So now we're picking through stuff that we already had ready to go and trying to shorten it up. You see, we're already kind of going on. I don't know about you guys, but this needs to be talked about. We are talking about things that everybody needs to listen. Share the video. Invite your friends to join New York Watchmen if they're like-minded. If they're not like-minded, tell your kids to watch a couple videos.
Yeah, Peter, don't kill yourself trying to find that. Just show something, please. We got out of there. We took a lot of pictures and a lot of video. We got out of there. We went and got a good night's sleep. We got up the next morning. We met out in front of the hotel. We had a lot of our friends come down from New York who couldn't leave until late that night. A group called the Marching Patriots joined us. Great group. We love them. They're our friends. They came down with about 15 or 20 people and joined the 15 or 20 that we had. So Michael Segul, who's the leader of that group, the founder of that group, he's a very religious Christian man, and we all knelt down on the sidewalk in front of our hotel. And we have pictures of that also, if Peter can find them, of our prayer session.
It's in there, Peter.
Before we walked off to the march, we had a nice prayer session, and then we went out to do what we came there to do. Now, Peter can just throw up some pictures every now and then, and we'll discuss them or whatever, but there's some things on my mind that really caught my attention. One of them was right across the street from where we were staying. There was a big, I call it paraphernalia stand.
So this is the actual rally that Peter's showing. If you look through the video, you guys, I don't know about you, but I don't see any open spots. I see a little bit more than 300 people. How about you?
You can see where that video is. You can see down towards the Capitol, and people were as far as the eye can see. But if you turned around and looked behind you, it was the same thing.
Yes, without a doubt. You see one of the guys we're going to talk to, Damon, is going to be answering a couple questions for us. That was him.
Now, during the day, with that many people, there wasn't much violence. There wasn't much attacks going on. I did see a black man who was trying to make a living selling some T-shirts, some Trump hats and some Trump T-shirts. Black man knowing there's 1 million people here, this is a good opportunity for me to feed my family, practicing capitalism. And 2 black punks walked by and took his table and flipped all his stuff into the street. And they were mad because he was selling Trump gear. So here's a fellow American trying to earn a living and practice capitalism.
How about when me and you went over right off of the BLM plaza there? We walked over and they had everything Biden or BLM or anything. And we said, hey, you got any Trump gear? And the guy said, well, obviously I can't put this stuff out, guys, but I do have a bunch of Trump gear. And he went into the back of his trunk and he pulled out a bag and he had Trump gear that he said, man, my people will piss on me.
Yep, he couldn't even have the freedom to sell the goods that he wanted to sell because Black Lives Matter would shut him down and flip his stuff out into the street also. So that's the type of stuff that's happening in our nation's capital, which is supposed to be the beacon of freedom, the bastion of freedom, and the founding government of freedom.
This is the video, Peter.
Yep.
This is the one we were referring to.
This was Friday night in front of the White House, and you can see that's the White House fence with all the signs on it. They're running over there because they're picking on that one guy. Do we have volume on that, Peter?
Well, tomorrow I got my GoPro too, so I'm going to be fucking. That's a good idea. I will.
I need a better picture of it.
Yep. Beat his ass. One dude. One guy.
Standing up to all of them.
Stay together. Yep, stay together. Stay together.
Throwing bottles at him.
We do have a video of a close-up, but I think one of us walked right up in there. I don't think it's going to be in this video, but he was there standing his ground with all those people. All right. Hey, I'm going to step out of this for a minute because there are other Watchmen that were here in Washington, D.C. with us, and I would love to give them an opportunity to tell you guys what it meant to them to be there and what it means to them to be Watchmen, and they can describe some of these pictures and videos also. So we've got Damon over there, correct?
Yep. Damon.
Yep. Hello.
And Andrea.
Yep.
Hello, everybody.
Why don't you throw some stuff up on the screen and let these guys talk about it? What's he got going on there now? Come on, Peter.
Reach over and hit our mics, mine and Charlie's.
Yeah, we're just waiting for some video or pictures to pop up here. My name's Damon Hewitt, Damon Grant on Facebook. Part of the Watchmen, a fairly new member. A little bit I've learned about the group so far. It's a great organization. I'm proud to be a part of it and, expand in it ideally. And it's a good thing going to be happening in the community with, everybody. But like I said, I'm fairly new in it and I'm still learning, but Andrea's a little more seasoned. So explain a little bit maybe.
Yeah, I'm Andrea Nicole on Facebook. Many of you from our group, also NY Watchmen Guard. I've been involved with the Watchmen since late September. It's been really super exciting to see how much the quality, not just quality, but the engagement of new members has been since then. We've held probably, I think, close to 10 new meetings since then. So I've been able to see them grow. I am director of personnel, so I help fit people where they will work best within our group for civil and civic engagement. So yeah, we were all in DC. That's who I am. That's who Damon is. We had a great time there, and want to share it with you.
Yeah, and hold on, I'm just trying to get a video picture. Here we go.
They're not going to let us down there?
Let's clean it up!
There's a video. Am I able to speak over the video? Okay, sorry guys. I'm hearing the video on my voice. So yeah, right here we were. This is between the time when we were, I believe, after we had went to the outside Alex Jones's hotel. There was supposed to be like a little outside block party, and we had went to that. And this is after the fact. We had met with a group of other patriots that were out there, and there was actually a really, really cool incident. There was a point in time where large group of us were walking down the road, and we kind of came to a standstill, and we looked over to our left, and about a block away, there was a whole nother giant contingency of people, and we really weren't sure who they were, if it was allies, enemies, anything in between. And we kind of were all, hooting and hollering, getting, revved up, and they were doing the same thing. And we were, about a block away, and then all of a sudden we all kind of just did our thing, and we kind of pushed forward. They pushed forward, and we're all just hooting and hollering our sides, USA, this, that, and the other. We have video. I'm not sure we have it here, but
actually, we do have that video, because the one I was going to mention is when things calmed down at our hotel enough, and we made tons of friends that were staying in the hotel, a 14-year-old that had been verbally assaulted and his life threatened by one of the BLM antagonists there and his family. But once that dissipated, we all marched out to find, where do we need to be. And when we turned this one corner towards that hotel that Damon just spoke of, and there is a video there, and all it was hundreds of people from all different patriot groups, and it was USA, USA, USA. It was unbelievable. It was honestly the energy of finding all of those people to join up in common causes from all over this country was one of the most captivating, energizing, memorable experiences I've ever had in my life.
If you can just try to alter that a little bit closer to you. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I got it.
And yeah, we'll see the video. And like I was explaining a minute ago, we got to the midpoint, and we were all up in arms. And then we got to the midpoint, and we actually seen that they were like allies of ours. And then our group actually multiplied by double. And then that's where the big flag came about in the video here. And then we literally marched around the whole city until like 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, depending on who you were. And we literally just cleared the whole streets. It was awesome. It was just peaceful people singing, Ruin, Holler, and USA, singing songs, and just everybody just being peaceful. I mean, there was a police presence, but I mean, other than that, it wasn't anything violent. It was just everybody having a good time, and it was awesome to be there. It was a living history, a part of history, and it was just amazing. I mean, it's kind of hard to take in now, but I just think it's like a really historical thing, and it will be historical going forward, and maybe it won't be appreciated until, down the line, part of history or whatever, but it was definitely great to be there. Can't wait to go back and, be a part of it again, and it'll just be a great time.
I'd like to say real quick, I saw some of the aerial views from the daytime that obviously none of us were able to see. Everything was, overwhelmingly patriotic as it was being on the ground. But when you saw the aerial photos, when they showed the mass amounts of people, there's one that shows that big flag that was carried around at night in that mass crowd. And you can see how big it is, and from that aerial shot. And when we were out there marching, you know, a lot of people didn't have, like, you know, I had talked to our members, and seeing that we're not always going to be in a big group, and, you know, we're here where Antifa's been stationed all since March. You know, don't wear our sweatshirts out. Let's not be targets when there's 3 or 4 of us walking. So a lot of people didn't. Some people did. But there were a lot of huge patriot groups. And we followed where everyone heard Antifa was going to be. So I believe that no matter that violence still occurred, it happened in alleys where no one was around to protect people. And us marching the streets in hundreds, I believe, narrowed that violence down tenfold.
I agree. I just want to, close in. This is Brad again. You know, guys, I just want to say thank you, number one, for going to D.C. Damon. Number two, how proud were you, and still, you know, do you talk about this every day as one of the shining moments of your life so far?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I haven't been to too many places in my life, but I mean, it doesn't take away like the overall greatness and vastness of the trip, and just the overall experience is probably the greatest experience so far I've had. But I wholeheartedly believe we're going to have an even bigger and better experience, you know, upcoming. But yeah, I appreciate it. I'll never forget it. It is history, like I said. Maybe we won't appreciate it now, but going forward, you know, your kids, your grandchildren, everybody will hear about it. Yeah, I honestly think it's like, you know, the march heard around the world, you know, the protest heard around the world. Maybe not necessarily a shot heard around the world, but, you know, we're moving towards a nonviolent, you know, world ideally. And so maybe it was the protest or the march heard around the world, you know, maybe it's that type of thing. You know?
I love it. I just want to say thank you, to both of you guys for giving us a few minutes of your time.
Oh, no, thank you.
Brett, may I just say something real quick? Damon mentioned that he hasn't been many places in the world, and maybe 10 years ago, I did a lot of traveling and I went to other countries, and one of the things I noticed was that people had so much pride in their country. They might not have been America, but they were so proud, and we didn't have that here. And if it takes turmoil to bring it out of each and every one of us, I have been so happy to meet everyone that's a Watchman and everyone that we meet. And I'm happy to see the patriotism in this country.
And that's a great segue into what we're going to end the show with, because the Watchmen have a creed. It's called the Watchman Creed. And it was written by a man named Jeff, who's a watchman in Tennessee. And it talks about nationalism and having pride in your country. And this is the part where I said we're going to have something educational at the end of every show. And this is something that if your kids are still up at 9 o'clock at night, sit them down in front of the TV. They need to hear something like this. We need to plant these seeds in their minds instead of the garbage that they're getting in school. And I know a lot of people are doing homeschooling now and virtual classrooms and things like that. Slip this in. New York Watchmen at yahoo.com. I will send you this video. You can play it for them tomorrow. You can play it for them next week. We're going to do a whole series of these videos, and these are the things we have to put into the minds of our kids.
Look, I implore you guys, if this is just us saying, hey, you watch this video, you watch this video, have your kids watch this video. If we can now get them swinging off the way they're being indoctrinated, it's a great thing, guys. It's a great thing. Where are our kids going to be? Watch this video, you're going to see what we're talking about, and how can you disagree?
Like I said, I can send you this video. I can send you every video every week. If the kids aren't up this late, they really need to hear this message. So go ahead, Peter.
So this is my first podcast, so I don't imagine they'll have a lot of places that needs to be edited. But anyway, so I'm doing this at the request of some of the guys in the Watchmen. My name is Jeff Brewer, and I'm the one that wrote the creed that the Watchmen have adopted, and I've been asked to give a short explanation, I guess, expound a little bit on each of the points, the 7 points, the 7 principles of this creed. And the first is we believe to be a civic nationalist is to be a good citizen. That is to say that we honor, revere, promote, protect, and defend the institutions, culture, traditions, and values of the United States of America as reflected in our founding documents. And not only those documents alone, but the very arguments of noble men in their drafting, ratifying, and acceptance as contained in the writings of our founders. We champion a society inherited from our ancestors where a loyal citizen, regardless of race, creed, social class, material status, or national origin, can, within the established laws and institutions of this country, rise as high as capable within our society, with the only limits being his or her own talents and abilities. We reject ethno-nationalism, which seeks to divide and categorize man based on his adherence to ethnic lineage rather than adherence to civic virtue. The best way for me to explain this is explain what prompted me to write it and what it means to me. I have no credentialed status. I'm not an expert on anything. There's plenty of professionals in academia that could explain to you the founding of our nation, but I do have an immense love of history, and spent most of my life in and around historic sites and reading books about history in general, and especially American history. But basically what it means to be a civic nationalist is, at the time of recording this, I'm 54 years old, so I was in, I believe, the 4th or 5th grade when the bicentennial occurred in 1976, when it began in 1976. So if you were in about the 4th or 5th grade in 1976 in your average public school system in America, you were probably raised a civic nationalist. Now, the revisionists and the propagandists that are storming the very fabric of this nation today have tried to make nationalist into a bad word, you know, and they'll say things like Hitler was a nationalist. Well, there's good nationalists, there's bad nationalists. A nationalist just simply means that you promote and take pride in your nation, your country. Patriotism. It used to be espoused by every legitimate institution in this country, and all, you know, England has a national patriotism. You know, they love the royal family. Most Brits do, and you know, Germany has a national patriotism. Russia has a national patriotism. There's nothing wrong with that. It just means you champion your home. You love your home. And so I grew up like that. And my family has been in this nation since its colonial founding. And I always grew up sitting around the feet of my grandparents, and I heard family tales and that were passed down from generation to generation. And as I got old enough, I began to research those stories from a more professional point of view, and doing some genealogy. And I'm proud of this country. I'm proud of what we've been, where we've come from. Are we a perfect nation? Absolutely not. There's no such thing as a perfect nation, because every nation is made up of men and women, and there's no such thing as a perfect man and perfect woman. If you take a biblical view of that, and I do, that you know, mankind is depraved, irredeemably depraved, and that means that they're without a capacity in and of themselves, and what Scripture calls the natural man, to choose good, meaning eternal good. Some disagree on that, even in Christian circles. That's fine. This is not a theological course. This is for me to expound on the first principle of the creed, and hopefully give a little bit of insight into its simplicity. And it is that you're proud of your country. And again, the best example I can give is if you grew up in the mid-'70s, if you were in, you know, elementary school, and just 1976, you probably participated in programs, and maybe you remember the Freedom Train that came through the nation, and they stopped at all the major cities across the country, and it was just a moving exhibit of the pride of America, what it meant to be an American. You know, I grew up on, you know, George Washington, Daniel Boone, Davy Crockett, you know, all those things that we used to take so much pride in that have been attacked in the higher institutions of learning, if you can call them that. And it's been a coordinated attack, and now they've moved into the K through 12, and so they don't wait till they get to college anymore, because they've realized somewhere along the line that not everyone's going to go to college. So anyway, again, civic nationalism is just simply to be proud of your nation, be proud of its culture, its traditions, its values, its heritage, and the people who founded it, warts and all. We're not a perfect nation, but again, we have the only nation that has the institutional documents that we have that make it a way to become a better nation under the rule of law. We don't take the law in our own hands and try to steal elections or try to coerce people to go into one direction or another. We have a legitimate system, and everyone can work and play within the rules, within the system, to try to change this nation if they have the support. Do it legally, constitutionally. We have an amendment process. If they don't have the support for that, well, maybe it's not a good idea, and the majority of this nation, as founded, don't want to go in a certain direction. Lastly, what does it mean to reject ethno-nationalism? Well, ethno-nationalism is basically, to make a long story short, it's this constant grievance politics that elevates one ethnic class of people above another or against another. My family originally, if you trace it back far enough, we come from an area in northwest Belgium called Flanders. My earliest ancestor, as far as I know, as far as we've traced them back, was Flemish. And from there we went into England, and we had many, many generations in England. And before we came to America during the Jamestown colony. And to put it short and sweet, I'm not English American. I don't have hyphenated loyalty. I'm an American. And I'm proud of my English heritage. I'm proud of the heritage that goes back as far as we've been able to trace it, as far as our Flemish ancestor. And I handed that heritage down to my children. I'm very proud of it. But I am not divided in my loyalties. I am an American, and what America is not a place so much as it is a set of ideals. And those ideals they're codified in our founding documents. So it doesn't matter what your color is, doesn't matter what your background is or where you come from. If you at heart identify with the ideals and the principles that were codified, meaning written down, solidified in our founding documents, then welcome to America. You're an American. So that's what the first principle of the Watchmen Creed means. It means that we celebrate our national heritage, our home. We do have culture here, as a unique culture in America. And it means we reject the constant division that ethno-nationalism produces. We all come from different parts of the world, and be proud of that heritage. But if you come here, understand to a certain extent you're leaving that heritage behind, because you're exchanging it in a way for something different, something new, and that's to be an American. So I hope I expounded correctly. Hope you, whoever hears this, hope you enjoy it, and pray for our country. Thank you very much. Good night.